You, what up? What's going on with you? We live in here tonight. We got some football going on tonight with a Carolina team that's really good. I'm not sleeping on them. We got this Ben Simmons situation. What the hell? Okay, I'm good. We got this Ben Simmons situation. Random, what's up, brother? Cash Money, what's up, brother? We got this Ben Simmons situation that's cracking. Juan Paulo, what's up, brother? Michael, sir, what's the crack? True Hero. Keyshawn is in. Okay, True Hero in the house. All right. What's up, brother? Your names be switching up on me. I kind of get and thanks for straightening me out the other day. What did I say about Marbury? I had him at 20-8, and so it was 19-8. All right. So we got a bunch of we got some things that's going on in the world of the NBA and in football tonight. And I think it's a good thing. I think it's a really good thing. I've actually had this conversation, Michael, and I don't know if I can call you Michael, Mr. Laffy. I've had this conversation, and I posted a video about it not too long ago to discuss what the hell's going on here? Do I have a situation with my Wi-Fi? Uh-oh. Am I frozen in time? Let's try this again. Yep. Uh-oh. I think I'm back. All right. Hey, man. I'm here. Yeah, I guess I had a technical difficulty. Hopefully that's not an issue for the duration of the night. Well, Travis, I actually wanted to discuss that. Your favorite line, we all make mistakes. Yeah, hey, man, I got that screwed up. But I am correct that he was one of three guys to do that when he retired. And this whole Simmons is sticking it to the Sixers. I don't know, man. I'm having a really difficult time with this. I just am. If you're the 10-72 Sixers for 1 year only, would you rather take CP3, Jordan, Kobe, or KD to improve the team with success? Not just the players' numbers. I don't know if I understand your question. So if we 10-72, only for 1 year, I get either CP3, Jordan, Kobe, or Kevin Durant just for 1 year to improve. But after they're gone, that means I got to go back to sucking. Right? I'm gonna get to this Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving thing, and the reason why that's important is because the rumors that I was hearing was, if I'm Brooklyn, I don't know if that works for us because you already got a playmaker in James Harden, right? You already got that. You already got the guy that you need in James Harden, and I think Kyrie Irving makes Philadelphia better. I think he makes them a lot better because of his ability to handle the basketball, his ability to create on the perimeter as an offensive player. I don't know how that situation works for Brooklyn. Do they now have the lockdown defender on the perimeter that they need? And Kevin Durant and James Harden can score all the points? Is that the way that works? So what I can appreciate, and I can absolutely appreciate that, Travis. And the reason why I can appreciate that is because there are some things that should be kept in-house. at the end of the season, when I'm asked as a coach, do you think you can win it with this guy? I can't say I don't know, because that's not a ringing endorsement. Now, I could say, we need to improve. I can say that, because that doesn't imply that you're not the guy. I think that we need to improve, and I think that we need to get better, but I do think that we have the right pieces. As opposed to, I don't know if we can win it with you. That's the same thing as saying to a chick, is she the chick? I don't know if you're the chick. Well, if you don't know if I'm the chick, that's a nice way of saying you're not the chick. I'm just not ready to jump out the boat yet. And I don't want to do that. Brooklyn in the house. I'm from Brooklyn. Shout out to. I do think that he would. I do think defensively he would help you guys, because he provides the same reason why I thought that if he would have ended up in Portland, it would have helped, because now Dame and CJ, they don't have to deal with guys like Murray. They don't have to deal with guys like Westbrook and Chris Paul, Booker, Leonard. They don't got to deal with those guys. Steph Curry, Fox, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They don't have to deal with those guys. That would be Ben Simmons' assignment, to deal with those guys. D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards. He'd be the guy to deal with those guys. Now, if he were to be on that Brooklyn squad, that's exactly what he would be doing. He would be dealing with the better perimeter players in the Eastern Conference. He'd have to deal with Bradley Beal. He'd have to deal with Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. So, what player under 25 right now do you think is going to be an all-time great when they retire? Jason Tatum? And he's just one of a few. I think Jason Tatum is going to be an all-time great when he retires. I think once Zion, the issue with Zion is his health. If Zion can, I'm going to read yours. Give me a second, my man. If Zion can stay healthy and he get that mid-range in his game, I think he's a generational talent. No question about that. I think Luka can be an all-time great. Absolutely. Donovan Mitchell's not 25 years old. I mean, he's not under 25. But Jason Tatum. I do think that he's going to be an all-time great. I think Luka's going to be an all-time great. I think Ja Morant can be an all-time great. Absolutely. OG, does this logic even correlate? LeBron makes 8 straight NBA finals. East is weak. Easy path to the finals. Warriors make the finals 5 times. West is the tough. No, that's a contradiction, in fact. And what it is it's reaching. It's damned if you do, damned if you. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. I wear this suit. Well, you had the money to buy this suit. Well, if you wear the same suit, that looks so clean on you because you worked for it. Well, wait a minute. We in the same category. Why are the rules different for him than they are for me? I don't think Kyrie's vaccinated. I doubt very seriously if he's vaccinated. I doubt it very seriously if Kyrie Irving is vaccinated. I got a text message from one of my boys, and it's not far-fetched to think that Kyrie Irving is not in the locker room burning sage. I don't think that that's unreal. I don't think that's ridiculous to think that he's doing that. Not at all. I don't think that that's ridiculous at all. Ja Morant is not better than Zion Williamson. True. No, he's not. Zion is 26 a game and 7 boards on 60% shooting. And this is only year 2. He doesn't even know how to play yet. Wait till he figures this thing out. I don't think that I completely disagree with you. Ja Morant is not better than Zion. I completely disagree with you on that. David Robinson is a top 6, top 7 center. One of the most athletic bigs that I've ever seen. One of the best big men that I've ever seen. And he's absolutely where he should be. I don't think he's underrated. I don't think he's overrated. He's definitely an all-time great. And I think he would thrive in today's game, especially how how the game is in transition, especially how he can knock down the mid range. And we underestimate a lot about being left-handed, how difficult it is to cover a left-handed guys. Olajuwon was better than David Robinson. I do think that, yes. Yes, sir. Well, Wiggins said he would get vaccinated if he's forced to get vaccinated. Well, I've seen a lot of employees around the country, nurses and uh, frontline people. I've seen them get fired because of that. And people that are essential, I've seen them get fired because of that. And if this means that Andrew Wiggins were to get traded, I mean, if he was playing in Canada, he would have to get vaccinated. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to play. He's from Canada. True, that doesn't work. No, that doesn't work with me. Who made the playoffs? Memphis had a better team than New Orleans. Absolutely. Not only did they have a better team, that thing was more structured. Stan Van Gundy had those guys all over the place. They had, which would explain why he was fired after one season. They had no idea what they were. He had no idea what he was doing with those kids, none whatsoever. Which is why Lonzo Ball left. I'm pretty sure if they made the playoffs and they had some structure in there, Lonzo would have stayed because that young group, I think they're really good with Lonzo and Ingram and Zion and Jason Hart as a Josh Hart. I'm sorry, Josh Hart as a D and 3 guy. I think that they had a lot to work with. And adding Steven Adams, I think they had a lot to work with. But that was an unstable situation, and I cannot compare that to what they're doing in Memphis. Memphis actually had some structure there. The floor for the Raptors is the lottery, early lottery. I think the ceiling for the Raptors is I think they're right on the cusp of the play-in tournament. I think they're right there. That's the ceiling for them. Lonzo didn't leave because he was playing out of position. Lonzo plays the lead guard. They had him playing the lead guard. And since you mentioned that, since you mentioned that, so you see, it's interesting because that suggests the instability of that organization. That suggests exactly why they were the way they were. So Brandon is asking me, what are your thoughts on this idea of off the ball playmaking? I think it's nonsense. I think it's nonsense too. And the reason why I think it's nonsense, because everyone talks about Steph Curry's ability to play make off the ball. What they don't talk about is they don't talk about how that offense is structured that way. It's not just because Steph Curry is just great off the basketball. No, that offense is structured for these guys to move without the basketball. 2 dribbles, get off the ball. That's why everybody was so worried about when Kevin Durant got there. How was he going to mix with them with Kevin Durant being the ISO player that he was? I'm not a big fan of this. Steph Curry moves without the basketball so well. Well, that offense helps him do that. Just like that offense 30 years ago when the triangle was like that. Why do you think Jordan thrived in the triangle? Why do you think Kobe Bryant thrived in the triangle when it was viable? Because of the ball movement, of player movement. And the offense was designed that way. So I think it's nonsense too. And I think that I'm not going to discount what Steph Curry does off the basketball, but what I'd like to do is I'd like to mention more that offense that they're in. I've never been a big fan of off the ball playmaking. I've never been a big fan of that. The reason why you play make off the ball because the offense is designed that way. That's the way that works. It's not because you're just out there just doing it. No. I was surprised Memphis traded Valanciunas. I was really surprised that they traded him. I mean, we talking about a dude he was second in the league. He was second in the league in rebounding. I mean, you can't discount that. You can't. Absolutely not. Hey, Jillian, how are you, dear? You're a long way from home. What brings you to Philadelphia? Hmm. That would be an interesting trade. And now, what you would have now is to trade Mitchell for Simmons. Now you would have two elite defenders, but your perimeter scoring goes down. I don't know if that's a good idea. Put all bias aside. That would explain it, Jillian. Nice. You in Philadelphia? How long you in town for? It's one of the most key things in other sports, like soccer and hurling. It is so important to be able to read when space occurs. But Michael, the difference is, like you just said, it's important to read. Let me make sure I understand you correctly. It's so important to be able to read what space occurs and how is that space created. That space is created within the offense that we're running. If you're running an offense where we're tight and all we're doing is pin downs tight, or you're running an offense that's wide where there's very little player movement, well, you don't really have to read defenses. However, if you're in an offense where there's constant action off the basketball, that enhances your game because you're moving. And if people are moving, I mean, if the ball is moving, people are moving. And if people are moving, that means that the defense is off balance. And that's largely due to how the offense is ran because Steph Curry is not just, well, not, I won't use Steph Curry as an example, but because guys aren't just running around and setting screens and running around like chickens with their heads cut off. That offense is conducive to off the ball movement. It's not just players just running around, it's the offense that they're in as well. I don't think Doc Rivers is out and about in Philadelphia right now. I mean, I know training camp opens up in a couple of weeks, but I doubt that he's out and about in Philadelphia. They got a pretty precarious situation of what's going on out there. I don't know, man. If the offense is set up badly, then any playmaking is hard. You need someone who can move without the ball to create space or move into space. That's absolutely a fact. And if you have somebody that's moving without the ball and creating space, none of that works if the offense is bad and if it's compact. So I will use Steph Curry for an example. So you got Steph Curry and you got Klay Thompson. So these guys are long ball shooters. If they were in an offense that was compact, it would be difficult for them to get a lot. It would be difficult for them to move in space. Now, because that offense is open, it allows them to move more. And not only does it allow them to move more, it creates space for other guys because they're long ball shooters. LeBron is the only player in NBA history to lead both teams in every statistical category in the finals. He did it 6 times. I ain't gonna fight that. Yeah. I don't think Scottie Pippen would be Draymond Green in today's offense because Scottie Pippen was a better overall offensive player than Draymond Green. Yeah, that's really interesting stuff right there. Yes, Ryan, I think LeBron James is the best basketball player that I've ever seen. No, sir, I do not play 2K. But I do think some people make off-ball movement the most important part of playmaking. I think Steph, as an example, is overrated on playmaking just because of his off-the-ball movement. You think Jordan had an overwhelming worry about Rodman giving you 0 rebounds in the game? No, he didn't. In fact, not only did Jordan not worry about that, Michael Jordan wasn't worried about any of those guys because he knew that every one of those guys were going to do their jobs. James didn't know that. No way did James know that. James wasn't sure what he was getting from Kevin Love. He wasn't. He might get 18 points and 12 rebounds from Tristan Thompson. Like, oh man, I'll take that. Absolutely. He didn't know what he was going to get from J.R. Smith. No, he didn't. Jordan knew what he was getting from Paxson. He knew what he was getting from B.J. Armstrong because they had been together so long. Roger, do you count LeBron not the best player on the Lakers? And no, it's not. Well, I've said this in my lives. I've said this in posts. I said that the Lakers, their success is gonna depend on Anthony Davis. He's gonna be the difference. If he can hold up, because I already know who he is as a player on both the offense and defensive end of the basketball floor. He's a top 5 player, maybe even a top 3 player when he's healthy. So if he can hold up, he's the difference between them. He's going to take, they're going to go as far as Anthony Davis takes them. So if I were to guess, and that as long as Memphis has, as long as Dallas has Luka, they have a building block, but Memphis is building something there, and they look like they're on to something. But that Western Conference is so tough for them. It's also tough for Dallas too. And I don't know what the ceiling is for that Dallas team. Because Tim Hardaway, he's going into year 9. Porzingis is going into year 9. This is year 9 for him. I'm sorry, Hardaway's going into year 8. Porzingis is going into year 9. So the way the league is set up in terms of salary cap, these teams don't stay together long. So that window for Dallas isn't open that long. Those guys in Memphis, they still on their rook deals. So with them being on their rook deals, you can get a lot more out of them. That window isn't open long for Dallas. So it's year 7 for Porzingis. What did I say? Year 9? He came in 13? Okay. He was drafted in 15. I thought it was 13. I'm sorry. I got you. Absolutely. How dominant do you think a player in the NBA would be if they had Usain Bolt's frame and athleticism? It's interesting you mention that, man, because you see LeBron James. I know you're looking at LeBron James right now. You know LeBron James been in the league since 2003. So he was a freight train. He was lightning fast. He wasn't fast. He was lightning fast. So, and you saw what the result was with him. I think that he's just as good at. I think he's just as good an athlete as Usain. I don't know if he could run 100 as fast as Usain, but I think he's just as good an athlete as Usain Bolt. Laffy, I'd have to go with Memphis. I would, because I think that they're going to be together longer. If I had to pick between those two, I'm not saying that they're going to do it, but if I had to pick between those two, I'd have to go with Memphis because I think that they're going to be together longer. Jaren Jackson's still on his rook deal. Brooks is still on his rook deal. Ja is still on his rook deal. So at minimum, those 3 guys, because they're going to re-up in Memphis. At minimum, you're going to have those guys for at least another 4 years at minimum. And you can't put a price tag on continuity, man, and solid and sustainability. You can't put a price tag on that. That team that Luka is on, that window isn't open that long. And when you're talking, and like I just mentioned, when you're talking about the salary cap in the NBA, that's why teams don't stay together for as long as they used to. So the window to win it isn't open that long. So when you get guys on rook deals and then extend them, you got to hold. You're able to hold on to them for a lot longer. Yes, I do, sir. I do think that the Lakers do. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I do think Ben Roethlisberger is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I do think that. Mm-hmm. I absolutely believe that. Mavericks or the Cowboys? That Cowboy team, it's going to be tough for them to win in it because the NFC is stacked. The NFC, the 49ers are going to be around for a while. I think the Rams are going to be around for a while. And they don't have the same problem in football that they have in basketball, where, when you pay the quarterback, you kind of screw up a lot of things. But when in football, like this Dallas Cowboy team, you could get a guy, like you see what happened last year with Dak. I mean, Dak breaks his ankle, he's out for the season and he's done. I mean, that could happen in basketball, but it's more likely to happen in football, where one of your main guys goes down and that's your season, which I'm still, to this day, I think that as a football team, you're only as good as your backup quarterback. That's as good as you're going to be. No question about it. If your backup quarterback is trash, your team goes in the tank. You saw what happened last year with the Cowboys with Andy Dalton. You saw what happened with them. So I think that the window is open for the Mavericks. The Western Conference, as tough as it is, I think that they have a better shot if I had to pick between those two. Hang on for a second. You made a video on TikTok showing off the best players ever in NBA history, and you showed one to everyone's respect, but you didn't. Agent, hey, Borg, listen, I've said this. I actually made a video about this. I can't believe I left Ray Ray out. I don't know what I was thinking. I apologize. If you can please forgive me. I can't believe I left. When I actually saw the video, it's similar to whenever you're in a debate with somebody, whether you're typing something and you thought to yourself after you let it go, like, damn, I forgot to say that. So when I made the video and I saw that I left Ray Ray out, I'm thinking, how could I leave Ray Ray out? How could I leave Ray Ray out? That is huge right there. Can't believe I left Ray Ray out. My fault. The Jordan shot was not the best final shot. The Bulls were still up. No, they weren't up. They were losing. True. Do you remember that game? In fact, they were down 2 possessions. Jordan goes coast to coast and scores. Now they're only down 1. Stockton is on the left side of the floor. Jordan is right behind Malone. Stock can't see him. Malone doesn't know he's back there. Dennis is not going to tell him. That's how he ended up stealing the ball. So Jordan steals the ball, then scores. Finals are over. Game's over. We're done. I think that's the biggest moment in finals history. What is the best sports city in the last decade? Boston. I don't think it's close, to be honest with you. Boston. And I don't think it's close. In the last, what are we in? 2021? In the last 10 years, they've had Super Bowl champion, they've had the NHL champion, they've had World Series champion. Um, the Boston Celtics been to the Eastern Conference Finals twice in the last 3 years. I'm sorry, in the last 4 years. I don't think it's close. I think it's Boston. Mm-hmm. Brandon, I, to be honest with you, and I've said this in the past, words can't describe how good this guy was. As much as, I mean, I can tell you all day long about Jordan, but words can't describe how good this guy was. He was incredible. If you got a guy today in the NBA that's in their prime who is must see TV, right? It wasn't like James, when James was in his prime, he was must see TV. And I was glued to the television whenever James was on. That's how it was with Jordan. There was no words to describe whatever I had going on. I made sure, and I'm not even from Chicago, but I made sure that whenever he was on, I was in front of the TV because I knew that I was going to see something that I had never seen before. This guy, he was amazing, man. That's really all I can say. Is he was amazing. That you might be onto something with that. 2013 NBA Finals. James 16 in the fourth. Ray Allen hits a shot, and Braun was saved. 1993 NBA Finals. MJ scores 9 in the fourth. Paxson hits the shots, and it's clutch. Well, I will tell you this, random, because I don't know if that's a good example. Just so you know, Paxson was the only other bucket to score in the fourth quarter. Nobody else scored but Jordan in that fourth quarter in that 1993 Game 6. Nobody else scored except for Jordan. He was the only one. The East is very good this season. Yes, it is. The East is going to be. You can fight the East all you want, and this is also something that I have a problem with. The same thing that my man Random just got finished talking about. The West, when teams like Golden State win the Western Conference is stacked. Just so you know, because like you just said, from 2010 to 2015, the East was weak. I just want to put on your mind, my man, that let's see, I think it was from 2006. Let's see, 2006, 2008. Yeah, two times in 3 years, just like now, 2006, 2008, and 2 times in 3 years, the NBA champ came out the Eastern Conference. Now, the Western Conference from top to bottom, I don't know if it was superior, but it was better, but the Eastern Conference wasn't weak. I have a huge problem with that, and that's the same thing that's going on right now. The same thing that's going on right now. I mean, Milwaukee won the NBA championship, an Eastern Conference team, right? The Lakers won it last year, a Western Conference team. Toronto won it the year before that, an Eastern Conference team. 2 of the last 3 NBA champs come out the Eastern Conference. Mm-hmm. It was. Absolutely. And you're not going to hear that neither, Random. You're not. How to send you a way to upgrade this transgeneration conversation. It takes more than characters allowed on all platforms. I think there's a way to upgrade the conversation to go to top 20. Well, I'd like to think that, the NBA has been around for 75 years, and 20 to say that 20 guys, I don't know if you can make an argument for 20 guys. I don't know if you can make an argument for 20 guys being the best player of all time. I don't think you can do that. I think Dwayne Wade becoming a part owner is great. I think it's great for diversity. I think it's great for the culture. especially in a place like Utah. I think it's great. Absolutely. I think he brings a set of toughness there. I think he brings diversity there. I think he brings the knowledge of the game. I can't, and they talked about it down here with the Miami Heat. I can't believe that they let him out the door, knowing that he wanted to be a part of ownership. To let him go to Utah, that's the same thing as letting him go to Chicago when you didn't want to pay him. I didn't understand that. Because I think Dwayne Wade being in ownership is fantastic for the NBA. Is Allen Iverson one of the most influential players in NBA history? He had the same demeanor and swagger on and off the court. Absolutely, he is. Allen Iverson is in terms of impact, and impact, not just impact on the court. I'm talking about impact on the culture. I put him in the same category with Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, Magic. I actually put him ahead of Magic in terms of impact on and off the court. Yeah, no question about that. Iverson was huge for the culture. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Agency Borg, that would be Pistol Pete. Pistol Pete didn't care about winning or losing. Pistol Pete was about the show. You came to see a show, I'm going to give you a show. That's who Pistol Pete was. He wasn't about nothing else but the show. That's who he was. No question about it. True. Take it a step further than that. You said if Chris Bosh don't get that rebound, the game is over. Now, I'll tell you what. Why are you stopping there? Take it a step further than that. You are aware that if they lose that game, San Antonio, Tim Duncan is 6-0 in the finals, and he probably wins the finals MVP for the fourth time. I mean, how are we talking about him now? How would we be talking about him? And he was first team All-NBA that year, too, by the way. Well, not even the torn meniscus in the playoffs, man. That's what cost him the MVP last year because he missed 3 weeks. We wouldn't be talking about Joker winning the league MVP had Joel not gotten hurt. We talking about a dude who he was 30-11 before he got hurt, and Philly was in first place. With the fate of the universe on the line, who am I taking? Who am I asking to save it with a 3? Ray Allen. Ray Allen. And the reason why I'm taking Ray Allen is because he's done it. He's actually done that. He's hit huge shots when it needed to get done. Harden is absolutely in the conversation. Yes, he was. Absolutely. This ring does everything for Giannis's legacy. I do not. I'm not one of those people, JJ, who discredits championships. You won it. You won it. Because if we're going to do that, we have to do that for every superstar who ever played. We got to do that for all of them. We got to do that for Bill Russell in '69 when Chamberlain got hurt and he had to come out the game. We got to do that for Jabbar because Jabbar got hurt. Even though they won, Jabbar got hurt. We got to do that for Isaiah Thomas because Magic got hurt in '89. We got to do that for Jordan because James Worthy and Byron Scott got hurt. We got to do that. We got to do that for a bunch of people, man. We can't just stop there. No, Dirk's ring was not Mickey Mouse. Mm-mm. And you know why Dirk's and the reason why I say Dirk's ring was not Mickey Mouse. The fact that they won it isn't enough for me. They swept the NBA champions, swept them out the playoffs. Kobe Bryant, Pau Gasol, and that NBA champion team, Dallas, swept them out the playoffs. Goodbye. That's not Mickey Mouse. And again, I don't do that when we talk about guys. This ring doesn't count, or are you counting this? I'm absolutely counting that. Hell yeah, I am. No doubt. Hmm. Westbrook, Harden, average. So Westbrook averaged Harden, Westbrook and Harden. Russ averaged a triple double. Harden first in MVP race, and KD wasn't even playing. No, he wasn't playing. Giannis has an incredible resume. However, you talking about Giannis being 26 years old, what you're leaving out is Giannis has been in the league for 8 years. It's not like Giannis been in the league for 2 or 3 years. However, Giannis just got nice. Like he's become dominant over like the last 4 years. And it's interesting how we talk about this dude. It's interesting how we talk about this dude the way we do, where 2 years ago, when they were up 2-0 against Toronto, and then Toronto ends up winning the next 4, yo, Giannis ain't the guy. He's not it. Now, all of a sudden, 2 years later, he wins the NBA championship in addition to winning the league MVP and a defensive player of the year. And now he's an all-time great. Oh. And I've said this in the past, does longevity mean anything to you guys? You know, Giannis isn't part of the 20,000 point, 10,000 rebound club. All the great power forwards in NBA history are. All of them. Charles is. Garnett is. Tim Duncan is. Malone is. Elvin Hayes is. I didn't call him washed, and I don't know who called him washed, Ibra. And whoever did, that's ridiculous. And interesting you mentioned that too, Michael. If he gets swept, what's the narrative? So let's say, and even though I don't like to talk about this because it happened the way it did. These guys got hurt, and that's not my issue. So with that being said, if Giannis gets swept out of the playoffs last year, what's the narrative on him? How are we talking about this dude? Without the NBA championship, how are we talking about him? Is he now top 5? Let me make sure that I'm understanding this correctly so I can. This is how Westbrook, Harden average. This is how trash Westbrook is. Harden averaged 28, 8. Westbrook averaged a triple double, and Harden. Well, first of all, the triple double is overrated. So I'm not a huge fan of the triple double. I do think it's overrated. And I think it's overrated in the aspect that the guy who did it before him, one, he didn't win the league MVP, and it didn't lead to them winning the NBA championship. Now it's an incredible individual feat, but that doesn't mean that you are more valuable because you averaged a triple double. That's a fact, Random. That's exactly what, and it's interesting that you say that because we go from that to Giannis won the NBA championship, and now we got to put him in the top 5 power forwards of all time. Is a championship what catapults him in? So over the next 5 years, if he doesn't win the NBA championship, right? Let's say over the next 5 years, he just continues with the numbers that he continues with. Like, let's say he's over the next 5 years, he's 26 and 13 in 2 blocks, and he's first team All NBA for the next 5 years. Doesn't win the NBA championship, doesn't win Defensive Player of the Year, and doesn't win another league MVP. He's still a top 5, and he's consistently getting bounced. He's not losing in the playoffs like in the finals. He's consistently getting bounced in round 1 or in the semifinals. Is he still in that conversation of being in the top 5 all time of power forwards? No problem, Jack. No problem, brother. Running good, Julian. Running good, man. Paul Pierce did win Finals MVP. I must have missed something. And see how flawed that is. So that means that James Harden goes into the top. Does James Harden goes into the top 5? What? Top 5 players at his position, or what does he go into exactly? What about KG? What about KG? I missed something. I respectfully disagree with you, Keyshawn. I mean, true who? I respectfully disagree with you. So that's all that's separating them is championships. That's all. One championship is what's separating James Harden from Bill Russell. One. That's it. Yeah, that Raymond, that makes me nuts too, man. I have such a like I got to listen to people talk to me about if Russ were to win the league, if Russ were to win the NBA championship, we got to put him in the top 5 point guards all time. Like that catapults him into the top 5 if he wins the NBA championship. I don't think so. I ain't gonna fight you. I think you're wrong though, but that's how you feel about it. That's absolutely how you feel about it. Winning the ring is incredible for your resume. It makes it what it does. It validates you as a winner. It validates you being on a great team. So do I think that Harden deserved MVP over Giannis? I don't think he deserved it over James, to be honest with you. Forget Giannis. I don't think he deserved it over James. Hmm. The only reason why Tim Duncan is put ahead of Malone is because Tim Duncan won. Tim Duncan won the way he won. I'm not going to stop it, True. And you know why I'm not going to stop it? I'll tell you why I'm not going to stop it. Just so you know, because I know what you're going off of. You're going off the fact that he went 36 a game. You completely forget, which is nuts to me, when I listen to you guys talk about the NBA today. You are aware that 2017-2018 team got flipped in the summer of 2017. The roster was flipped over. 7 new guys. Turns out this isn't working. The trade deadline comes along, flips it again. 5 new guys. James still ends up getting that team to the playoffs. And this is the same team who James said during the season, I'm not sure if we should be on TV anymore. That's how bad it was. I'm not sure that we should even be on TV. He dragged that team to the 4th seed. And then he runs up on a 59. He runs up on a 59 win team in Toronto and puts the broom to them. Get out the playoffs. Bye. If anybody, and I'm not even talking about the playoffs. I'll take the playoffs off the table. I'll absolutely take the playoffs off the table. No question about that. I will absolutely take the playoffs off the table. He led a team with no All-Stars to 65 wins. That was never done before. Actually, it was done before, sir. It was done in the 2008-2009 season. LeBron James did it. That team in 2000. That's not true because Mo Williams made the All-Star team. So I take that back. Mo Williams did make the All-Star team that year. That is correct. I apologize. Hold on. I got to get my facts straight. Mo Williams made the All-Star team that year, and that Cleveland team won 66 games. And James did win the league MVP that year. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that he was second in the league in Defensive Player of the Year votes. No, it does not. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's why I said I'm not going to mention the playoffs. I'm not. What I am going to mention, however, is I'm going to mention what that team did and how James overcame them, overcame all of that. 7 new guys on the roster going into the 17-18 season. It's not working. And the roster gets flipped again. 5 new guys. And he still manages to drag that team to the playoffs. Forget what they did in the playoffs. He still managed to drag that team. I'd like to see a team that has 7 new guys on the roster, and then it gets flipped at the All-Star break. I'm sorry, at the trade deadline, and the leader dragged that team to the playoffs. Unbelievable, man. Where did Houston finish that year, by the way? He went 36-10-8. I think he had the most, if I remember correctly, I think James Harden that year, I think he had the most 40 and 15 triple doubles that year. Where did they finish that year? How did they do? I don't think it affects his legacy neither, Josh. I don't. No, Michael, I'm not going with that. Because that idea that you're the only one in the history of the league. No, not the history of the league. I'm sorry. Wilt Chamberlain had a 60-point triple double. That was in the finals, though, Nate. We only going off what the regular season was. Giannis is good for the NBA. In the media, they love him. It will make him out to be the hero as long as he's playing. So they're biased. Is that what you're saying? There's a bias with him. And now, Michael, is it a bias because it's the media, or is it a bias because it's not your guy? Because when it's your guy, he's the best. But when it's somebody else, they're biased. Is that not fair? Hmm. And how did that was the 18-19 season, is that correct? When James did that, he went 34, 10, and 8. Who is your guy, Michael? So I'm clear. Well, they do the same thing with a bunch of with players from back in the day. So they did the same thing with Jordan. They tried to build a narrative about him. I mean, that's part of the league. Absolutely, that is. True is a James Harden guy. I can appreciate that. All right. All right. So yeah. So James Harden is his guy too. Mm-hmm. Not a big James Harden fan. Not a huge James Harden fan. I think that he Matthew, did you see any of my posts? Because I hate to do this, because the one thing that it doesn't aggravate me. Let's be clear about that. It doesn't aggravate me, but it's a trick. Whenever somebody asks you about who your top 5 players are at this position or at that position, and then they ask you to go start, bench, cut. Well, what they're trying to do is they're trying to trip you up, because you already said who the 5 guys are that you're feeling, right? And then they tell you to start, bench, cut this guy. I've said countless times where I am with Trae Young, Kyrie Irving, and Dame Lillard. I've said that a million times. So it's basically, essentially what it is it's asking the same question, you just rewording it to see if you could get a different answer. I hate it too. What I think happened to James in those finals in 2011, I don't think that he was comfortable with being. He wasn't. Forget the finals. As good as he was in the playoffs, he was doing that just off instinct. He wasn't comfortable. You saw a different guy in 12 that you saw in 11, and the reason why you saw that guy is because he became comfortable with who he was. And the reason why he became comfortable with who he was is because Dwayne Wade told him, you got to be that guy. He wasn't okay with it, which would explain why he went the other way, which was why it went the other way, and why he was so much better in 12, because now it's essentially me telling you, you can whoop this guy's ass. You got my permission to do it. Go ahead. I'm really not that comfortable beating this guy up because I don't really know if I should, but I'm telling you, you have my permission to whoop his ass. Go ahead. Well, now when I get that ring of endorsement, oh, I'm absolutely going to go do it. And that's exactly what happened with James. I dig small ball. I absolutely dig small ball. It was obvious that it didn't work in the bubble in the playoffs, because you saw what happened with the Lakers. They just threw the ball in the hole and they just dominated inside. So it doesn't work with everything. So it does work. Khalid, man, you're not coming in here with that nonsense. I'm not listening to that. Go ahead with that. Explain to me how super teams have been around forever. They've just been built differently. Your idea of a super team, you already got. I can't even have this conversation with you because you already got your mind made up about James, and I'm not going to change it. I'm not. Absolutely not. I will not. Whenever I hear that he needed this guy, he needed that guy. Dirk Nowitzki wins the NBA championship without an all-star. The last time that happened let me make sure I got this correct. The last time that happened, when Dirk did it, he did it in 2011. Hakeem Olajuwon did it in 1994. So what's that? 17 years? So before those two did it, nobody had done it. Nobody. So I'm not listening to this nonsense of James being twice or whatever you want to call it on getting on a super team because nope, I'm not getting into that. I'm not, because I've done this so many times. I never said that. Who said that Chris Paul and Westbrook are top 5 if they win a ring? I never said that. You never heard that come out of my mouth. Never heard that come out of my mouth. And you won't hear that come out of my mouth. You will never hear that come out of my mouth. Absolutely not. I don't think that that's even if Chris Paul had won, that wouldn't have catapulted him into the top 5 with me. No. Same thing with Westbrook. I think you can make an argument for Russell Westbrook being a top 10 point guard all time. I do think that, but top 5? No, absolutely not. No way. I don't think Harden is better than Dwayne Wade. I do not. But you can make an argument for James Harden being better than Dwayne Wade. Absolutely, you can. I don't think he's better than Dwayne Wade. I do think James Harden is better than Drexler. Yes, I do think that. John, let me make sure I'm understanding that correctly. Use today's rules. You get the first pick. I get the next 2. Each of us choose 10 alternating from there. This gets you a more interesting conversation for transgenerational players and who gets left out. I don't know if I understand you correctly, but so I get to pick 1, then you get to pick 2, then I get to pick 2, and then you get to pick 1 until we get to 10. Is that what I'm understanding? I don't know if I understand you correctly. And whoever you get to pick, that guy comes off the board. I do listen to. I've listened to Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne is dope. Mhm. OG, how good was Drex? Really, was he close to MJ's level as a shooting guard? No, he was. Nobody was close to MJ's level as a shooting guard. Michael. I think that I don't know if I mentioned this to you in the past, and I'm pretty sure that there's some people in here that have heard it before. I don't know if you've heard it before, but the comparison that I gave was the difference between Kobe Bryant and Dwayne Wade. I thought that Dwayne Wade was incredible. I didn't think that Dwayne Wade was good. I thought that Dwayne Wade was incredible. He was not 24 good. No, he was not that good. He was good. He was not that good. No way. Clyde Drexler was incredible. He was one of the best transition players that I've ever seen. He had a money mid-range game. His athleticism was unmatched. He was a solid defender. He wasn't 23 good. He was not that good. No way. And he was awesome. I do think James Harden was a better player than Allen Iverson. I do believe that. Greatest rapper of the 2010s, in my opinion, Drizzy. So I was understanding of your logic, John. So I pick one, you pick two, I pick two, then you pick one until we get to 10. And whoever I pick, that guy is off the table. You can't have him. And then the 10 guys that I have, well, that's a little screwy because you might have somebody that I want. And I might have somebody that you want. I got a bunch of Drake songs that's dope. The motto is my. I can listen to the motto all day. I don't love that. I love that song. I can listen to the motto all day long. I just I love the flow. I love the beat. How basic it was. I love how Drake came on the track. I love his delivery. I just loved everything about that song. Everything about that song. I dug hearing Drake go tell T pass one, tell T light one, pass it like a relay. YCMB, you is my YMCA, me Freddie and Molly Mall at the cribbo. I was good after that because I was so into that. I thought that was super dope. Absolutely. I heard Travis Scott is dope, man. For some reason Travis Scott never really appealed to me. He just never did. I don't know why. Maybe it was the Kardashian thing because I thought that was corny. But I probably should have been listening to him more than because I heard a lot of good things about Travis Scott. I heard Travis Scott is dope. No, it ain't solid fact, Khalid. That is not a fact that Bill Russell wouldn't be able to play today. What gives you the impression that Bill Russell wouldn't be able to play today? I'm interested to hear that because you obviously want to be heard. That's why you're here today. So you want to talk. So I'm listening to you. Why wouldn't Bill Russell be able to play in today's game? I'm interested to know that from you. My favorite Kanye song is Good Life. Lonzo Mourning was 6'9". So Bill Russell was 6'9", 6'10". So Lonzo Mourning was 6'9". She is dope. I ain't gonna fight that. Kylie Jenner, and I'm a little older, but I look at Kylie Jenner and she is not difficult to look at. No, she is not, sir. No, he doesn't average 7 and 11. Give me a break. 7 and 11. I have not listened to J. Cole. I have not listened to his album recently. But my best friend went to a J. Cole show in Boise 2018. And he told me, yo, if J. Cole is in your city, go to his show. He is not dope. He is super dope. Go see him. I don't know, Zach. Ben Wallace was really good. Yeah, Ben Wallace was really good, man. Well, true. I think the problem that we have in here is you so wrapped up in points. The reason why the Celtics took off the way they did in the 60s is because Russ was the difference for them defensively. They was already buckets. They was already getting up and down the floor. You add Russ in there, the glass cleaner that he is, the transition player that he was, the rim protector that he was. They're gone now. But all you care about is points. That's it. Points aren't the only thing that impact a guy's game or impact the guy or impact the team. It's so much more than that. He played against much shorter players. I mean, Chamberlain wasn't shorter than him. Nate Thurman wasn't shorter than him. Walt Bellamy wasn't shorter than him. Bron is not a top 5 scorer. Is that what you just said? No, Bron is nowhere near a top 5 scorer. Yes, he is. Yes, LeBron James is. Absolutely. I think so. I think LeBron James is a top 5 scorer. Absolutely. No question in my mind. No doubt about that. KD is a top 5 scorer all time. KD going into year 15, by the way. Let's make sure let's make sure that we know that KD is going into year 15. You know he ain't in the top 25 all time in scoring today. He's not in the top 25 in scoring. Who's not a better scorer than James Harden? LeBron James ain't a better scorer than James Harden? Yes, he is. I think so. Absolutely. Harden is not a better scorer. And you know why Harden is not a better scorer? Because James' numbers prove it. I'm going to tell you, I don't know if you know this because you're a James Harden guy. I know that's your guy. But LeBron James has been in the league. This is not the only. This year, here we go with this 36 a game. So what? You average 36 a game. Big deal, you average 36 a game. James Harden is going into, let's see, he's going into year 13. Is James Harden top 20 all-time in scoring? Not only that, did you know that LeBron James, since year 2 in the NBA, up until last season, averaged 25 a game or more? Can James Harden say he averaged 25 a game for 10 straight years, let alone 15 straight years? Can James Harden say that? Can he say that? And I'm not listening to you tell me. That's because he's in year 19. And just so you know, in 2019, 2020, when they won the NBA championship, he was 25 and 10. And he was in year 17. What did he average? 23 a game last year? 23. And he's in year 18. And he missed 2 months. So, what does that mean? Harden was a bench player. So, I'm not gonna give you a pass for that. What does that mean? You think that James, let me ask you a question. Do you think James Harden is a top 10 player all time? When he retired, and not right now, because he's only in year 13. Do you think that James Harden, before his career ends, he'll be a top 15 player all time? So what's your logic with James Harden? Where do you think James Harden ranks all-time great players? So you do think he'll be a top 15 player all time? Hmm. You think he's a so 45, you think he's a top 10 player? I think that James Harden is a better all-around player than Steph Curry. I'm not going to fight that. I've said that before. I've actually said that before. And I'll say it again. I think that James Harden is a better all-around player than Steph Curry. I do think that. Well, when you talk about James Harden and Dwayne Wade, where's the disparity? I think the disparity is on the other side of the basketball. That's where Wade has the edge. Well, Kareem is the greatest scorer of all time. James and Malone are the guys who are the only guys who have come close to that record. Kareem had one shot. Stop this and you stop me. What's the difference between that and I'm in a gunfight and you got 1,000 different guns and I got this one gun and I'm picking all of you guys off? What's the difference? Oh, I can definitely name 15 players better than James Harden. No question about that. Khalid, I can't believe. So you're telling me that Dwayne Wade has the second worst free throw percentage shooting for a guard to Russell Westbrook? Is that what you're telling me? Is that what you're telling me? Is that what I'm understanding? Because I'm going to go find out right now. He has to be trolling. Absolutely, he does. He has to be. He has to be. What do you guys, because when you guys talk about scoring, I understand that the game has changed, and I understand that when you guys talk about scoring, I understand that the game has changed, and now there's three levels of scoring. Like you have to be a more versatile scorer. Can you score in the paint? Can you create your own shot? Can you shoot the long ball? Because that's where the game is today. Right. I can get with that logic. I think that's very similar to a running back. Do you just run up the gut? What kind of running back are you? Can you hit the A gap? How do you run sweeps? Can you beat linebackers because they're faster today? Can you beat them to the sideline? I can appreciate that. Absolutely. But if nobody could stop me from doing what I do best, how is it possible that I am not an all-time great scorer? How? And Jake, what I don't want to do is I don't want people to think that I just talk about, because I give it up to modern day players. I talk about modern day players all the time. I'm a huge Kawhi Leonard fan. I don't like Kawhi Leonard. I love him. I'm a huge Damian Lillard fan. Right? I've seen Damian Lillard play live. I'm a huge Damian Lillard fan. I love the Greek Freak. So these guys today are incredible. But I can't discount what guys did before them. Hell yeah, hell yeah, I like Kawhi Leonard because he plays defense. And you know why, Michael? And I've said this, And I've said this in the past, and you can quote me on this, sir. The cheese is not extra on the cheeseburger. It comes with the burger. I don't have to pay extra for that. So if you're an elite player, I shouldn't be surprised when somebody says to me, he's a two-way player. If you're an elite player, you should be that. So for me to see Kawhi Leonard be an elite offensive player and he locks ass, hell yeah, that's a big deal. That's awesome to me because that's what I was raised on. I was raised on guys who played on both sides of the basketball at an elite level. I don't think Cat is a mediocre big man. I just think he's on a bad team. I think that's the problem with him. No doubt. Yeah, what's his name? I didn't even pay attention. Like that dude Khalid talked about Dwayne Wade being being the second worst free throw shooter to Russell Westbrook. I'm not even entertaining that. No way. I actually like. I'm very interested to see how that dynamic works with James moving to the 4 and AD moving to the 5. And the reason why I'm really interested in that is because when you get Russ at the top and you get pick and roll action where you can get that 4 to switch on to Russ, Russ can go after him. So you got 4 men like Paul Millsap. You got 4 men like LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin. Let's see. Who am I thinking about? He's in Philadelphia. Andre Drummond. When you got guys like that switching on the Russ, they lunch. They lunch. James Harden is not a better player than Karl Malone. No, he's not. No, he is not. And you're not going to sell me on that. James Harden is not a better player than Karl Malone. No, he isn't. I don't think James Harden is better than Kevin Durant neither. And I don't think he's better than Giannis. No. John. That's funny. I've got trolls. Congratulations. I guess. That's like saying, that's like saying, yo, you got a big enough yard now. You got snakes in it. Or you got a big enough yard. You got a big enough yard now. You got snakes in it. So congratulations. That's really good, man. That is really good. You can't convince me otherwise that Jimmy Butler ain't related to Michael Jordan. I think he is. I absolutely think he is. I think having Horford back is a big deal, no doubt. I think having Horford back is a big deal. No, Michael, you're not a troll. I know what trolls are, and you are not a troll. Neither is True. Neither is True. These dudes are not trolls. I don't. I know what trolls are, and whenever I hear them, whenever I see them, I don't pay attention to them. No, I don't. Mm-mm. I don't think you guys are. Take it light, brother. Good to see you, True. Take it light, my man. I could too, Brad. I could see them being really good and really bad. Yes, I could. Mark, at minimum, he's top five. You can make an argument for him being top three, but at minimum, he's top five. At minimum. The reason why Malone is a better player because he revolutionized his position. The four man was the dirty work guy. That's who the four man was. The four man, the offense was not run through the four man. Absolutely not. And not only was the offense run through him, his longevity trumps any other four, with the exception of Tim Duncan winning the way he did. His longevity trumps any other four man. For 11 years, he was 27 and 11. For 11 straight years, he had a mid range in his game. He ran like a deer, clean glass. He was a elite defender, as a matter of fact. Made the All League defensive team numerous times, which James Harden has never done. And I just mentioned this not too long ago, my man. The cheese is not extra. It comes with the burger. If you are not elite on the other side of the basketball, you have to prove to me how impactful you are. So, for example, Magic Johnson at least led the league in steals. At minimum, he led the league in steals. So he might not Magic wasn't elite on the other side of the basketball, but he was solid. He didn't suck. James Harden, nobody will say solid in defense and James Harden in the same sentence. They will not. We'll say solid defender and James Harden in the same sentence. No way. I don't think he's reaching. Absolutely, I don't think he's reaching. You can make an argument that Tim Duncan is a top three defender of all time. You absolutely can do that. No doubt about it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's interesting you mentioned that, Mark, that he's a solid post defender. The problem with that is that he plays on the perimeter. So how about the guys that he is supposed to defend? How about those guys? Is he solid against them? Hmm. I don't know if Scottie Pippen holds James Harden to 15, but I don't think he goes off for 35. I will not say that. Hell no. I don't think Scottie holds him to 15. No. I think James Harden would give Scottie some problems, but I don't think that he goes off on James. I don't think he goes off on Scottie for 30, 35. No, I don't think that. 2012 to 2014 Pacers. Why were they underrated? They was in the Eastern Conference Championship. They lost in 7, in 12. They got smoked in 6, in 13. And then Paul George got hurt that summer and broke his leg. Hmm. Yeah. Let me take a look at your top 10 scroll. Hang on. I don't see a top 10 scroll. I don't see it. Oh. All right, guys. It's about that time to wrap it up. And we'll do this again real soon. And I love this right here, man. And what I want to make sure that we clear on is I want to make sure that we clear on talking about modern day players. So when we have subjects like this, it's very important. It's very important to talk about modern day guys. This ain't just, this old head. He only want to talk about Magic and Malone. No, I want to talk about KD. I want to talk about Giannis. I want to talk about James. I want to talk about Leonard. I want to talk about Curry. I want to talk about these guys. Absolutely, I do. I don't just want to talk about Malone. I don't just want to talk about Jabbar, because that was 30 years ago. That was 35 years ago. I don't want to just talk about Chamberlain, even though me schooling you guys, I'm giving you some history so you can understand where these guys today are coming from. But I absolutely want to talk about these guys today and how it correlates to the guys back then. And not just the guys back then, how their games are transcendent. So in 10 years, in 20 years, when your son comes to you and says to you, this 6'10" guy, yo, he better than Kevin Durant. So you don't strangle him, because I know you're going to want to, right? I know you're going to want to, when your nephew, when my boy True Hoops, when his nephew come to him in 15 years and tell him that, yo, this dude nicer than James Harden, and you're going to have to go get his mother, which is your sister, because you're going to put him in a sleeper hole. So it's very important to talk about these guys today. Absolutely. But yo, man, until next time, I'm going to see you dudes soon, man. We're going to do this again real soon, man. Take it light, but take it. Love you guys. The motto, that's the name of it, Mike. Lil Wayne was on it, and it's super dope.